guys. It's Darren again, and we've got a double header this week, two road team lives. Some of you guys may have been with us on Tuesday when we had Steve Kane from Rolling Strong. That was episode 1 in this driver health and wellness series. Steve was our first ever guest from outside the company. And today we've got Angela with us, and she's our second ever guest from outside the company. So Angela, thank you so much for being with us. Really, really appreciate it.
Very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Thank you. Let's start off with a little bit of an intro, if you would, please. Tell us who you are, where you are, what you do, where you've been, what you're passionate about, all that stuff. Please.
Okay. All right. Sure. Well, again, my name's Angela. I am not only just a nutritionist, but I have been in love with food since I was 8. I mean, everything about food. I grew up on a farm in Illinois, which is still in operation, and through 4-H and FHA and which is FFA, is sort of that round as well.
Yeah.
And a love for just cooking and being in the kitchen, and fitness. I was an athlete through college. I played basketball. So, those things came together, and then just that passion for cooking and enjoying really good food and wanting it to fuel me well as an athlete led me to become, a dietitian. So a dietitian is someone who gets, degree in nutrition and helps other people with what they put on the end of their fork. And so, and helps you meet health goals that way, whether they be a lot of common concerns are around, weight, but that's not always it. There's a lot of, people and not unsimilar to drivers that are on the call right now, right? That you're struggling with, diabetes or high cholesterol or hypertension or things, issues such as this. So, my background has been in food and nutrition for 31 years, actually. So I've been doing this for a while, and I've worked in different areas. All dietitians start off working somewhat in a clinical environment, in a hospital setting, at least to start working on when we get after we get a degree, and then we go through the training of kind of like a doctor does the residency. Dietitians have to do that as well. So that's what sets us apart from just someone who can call themselves a nutritionist. So we've done those types of rotations in not only community health, but also in cardiac and burn and cancer and, all these different areas of nutrition. Wow. And then we have to sit a national board exam. And then there's continuing education every year, to keep us current with what the science is what's going on with science. Because as you can imagine, in 30 years, it's changed a lot as well. And so we need to keep up with that. So that's kind of the background and where I come from. Through the years, I've worked in not as much in that clinical setting, because I didn't find that was as effective as working with people one-on-one and having the time to do that. Our system at that time, this is back in the 80s, 90s, wasn't really set up for that very well. It still really isn't today either. So that's why I'm in private practice, because I can take the time that is needed to look at the whole person and help them with not only what they're putting on the end of their fork, but also with their mindful eating, which is really big. How, when, where, why you're eating, because we eat for reasons other than hunger.
Yeah, we do.
We do. And so looking beyond that and into these, what I call 5 pillars, which are not just what you put on the end of your fork, but the mindful eating, the right type of exercise, restorative sleep, and stress diffusion. So putting those sort of all together, I have the time to help people make lifestyle changes that stick. It's kind of how I put it. And so, so backing up a little bit, I've worked in school food service. I've worked in government food service. Actually, I lived in Australia for 3 years, working with the New South Wales Health Department, and that was awesome. So that was awesome being over there, and people were amazing. And I got to work with. Actually, this is back when we were computerizing food service, and now I'm dating myself. Back when we used to do everything manually, and we'd tally everything on what we needed to do, and so this is when things became automated. And then school food service, I've worked in as a director of nutrition for online child food service as well, a private company. I built a nutrition and health coaching program at Facebook, now Meta. That was super fun as well. So I've done a lot of different things, but what it about 15 years ago came back to me is, I've had this company called Vital Nutrition and Wellness, because that's where I feel I'm most impactful, to be able to help people with their everyday life of eating. Just like you drivers that are out on the road, it's not just about like, you know a little bit more than you think you know about what is healthy food and what is eating, what do you need to do. The challenge is the restrictions that are, you can't just drive a truck up to a 5-star restaurant, you can't do that. It's very, very difficult. And the choices that are available, how do you navigate those, right? How do you get the most out of them? So being able to help people in their own environment and do it successfully and do it long term. I think that is why I love what I do. And so that's kind of brings us up to current. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Awesome. And thanks for taking us through all of that education and the residency part. And it's very much like being a doctor, being a nurse. And I think it's good for people to hear that, there is that kind of rigorous, challenging, formal education. And then there's the, before you go into private practice, there's working with all different kinds of people. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I think to add on to that, one of the things that I found that was lacking in my education, about around 2017 or so, trained as a clinician is one thing, but then also being able, like I said, the lifestyle changes and the coaching aspect. So I also was I was in the first cohort that went through to become a nationally recognized board certified health and wellness coach. So I have that in combination. And then prior to that, when my kids were little, there was a little bit of time where I was at home, and I also became a registered yoga teacher as well. So I don't teach yoga, but boy, does it help with the mindfulness aspect and being able, when I'm working with someone one-on-one, to be able to help them, or not just one-on-one. I work with wellness groups as well, but be able to help, like I said, look at the whole person and get them through the bumps. It's not just about education. It's about how do you get through the bumps as well and be successful and move forward. I alluded to working with groups. And so one of the groups that I've been working with for 13 years actually are the bus drivers of Contra Costa County. So we've been doing wellness classes on nutrition and wellness for 13 years. So I'm not a truck driver, but I am someone who's been working with bus drivers who have similar challenges. And then I also have two brothers who, along with farming, also drive trucks as well. They're also, and one of my brothers has been a long haul driver off and on, and so we've worked through some of those challenges together as well. It's not easy. It is not easy.
It is not. It's a very difficult job. It really is.
Didn't you do a class on windshield relieving tension for bus drivers? Was it their class?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah, so we've done so many classes over the years because I teach 4 different ones a year, and it's 13 years, so that's a lot of classes.
Wow.
But on different topics. But yeah, we did a lot of we've done on focus and attention, and then we've done another one on literally, tension and movement, being able to, what can you do in your chair? Like, what can you actually be doing in the chair?
Wow.
So not necessarily nutrition, but like I said, that's why they go hand in hand with that. So
yeah,
totally. Wow, fascinating. And I have to thank, that question, you guys, was from Ken.
Yeah,
that's Ken Wood, our buddy on the Foster Farms dedicated fleet down in California, Livingston, California. I don't know, Ken, you're amazing. He has found Angela and then the chefs that you guys are going to meet coming up here pretty soon. I don't know how you did it. He's just, Ken is just
I got to give Angela a lot of credit. And I made one call to Angela's voicemail, and then I called back, and what I heard was, I'm sure it was different, was, how did you get my number?
Yeah. I was like, that was an interesting call. Yeah. But as soon as he shared what he was looking for, I was like, I'm all in. So.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you being here for us, and absolutely, the drivers, I'm sure, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
She volunteered, and she didn't know what she was getting into, so that's on her, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ken. It's been amazing, the ideas that you've brought to this. I think, Angela, a lot of our drivers, just a lot of people, not just truck drivers, but just people in general, as you know, we don't know anything really about food, diet, nutrition. And I wonder if you could just give us like a little miniature class on nutrition. Like I've had drivers ask me, what are proteins? What are carbs? What are fats? What are macros? And like a lot of people don't really understand what that is. Can you help us with that? Can you take us through that?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do a little mini class, and we'll start. Yeah, let's start with talking about like how we make energy.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So how do we make energy? Because that's what everybody needs. And people who come in to work with me, they always want to talk about food, but their number one complaint is energy. Like, I'm so tired all the time, right? So let's
talk. I call it FLC syndrome. Feel like crap.
Yeah.
FLC syndrome.
FLC, that was a good one. So so let's talk a little bit about, all right, so food, there's so many different things we can eat and put on the end of our fork, and they provide us energy. And so any of those foods have macronutrients and micronutrients. Okay. So macros, that's what you hear all the time. You hear people talking about macros, or I'm counting my macros, or what have you.
Yeah.
And it just, all that means is food is made up of these components called proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. There's these 3 macros, right? Yeah. And so if you think about a chicken breast, that is made up of mostly protein, that macro, right? Mm-hmm. If you think of olive oil, it's mostly fat, right? It's a healthy fat. And then if you think of a peach, that's mostly carbohydrate. Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of how we get from, like, there's nuances, like people don't understand. And sometimes that an avocado is made up of healthy fat, but it also has a smidge of protein and a little bit of carbohydrate in it as well. So there can be, have a mixture of these foods. Yeah. And so, so then back in sophomore year of high school, when we took biology, there was 5 seconds where they spent on the Krebs cycle.
Yes.
And it's the Krebs cycle. All that means is we break down all of this food. Our body takes in whatever we eat, right? We take it in and we break it down into glucose, right? Glucose is what we run on. It's our fuel. And in order to do that, our body breaks down all the food into these proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, and takes them and runs them around the Krebs cycle. And then we have these little powerhouses in our cells called mitochondria, and they turn it into energy. That's how it works. Okay. So those are macros. And then we have micros, micronutrients. These are these are things like vitamins, minerals. Vitamins would be like vitamin C that you can get from like an orange or strawberries, a lemon or a lime. Then we've got vitamin A, which is fat soluble. That means that we need healthy fats to absorb it. So there's those kind of vitamins. There are minerals, like you think, they come out of the earth, right? Yeah. So we've got, selenium and iron and copper and all these little minerals. And then we've got things called antioxidants and these other plant chemicals called phytonutrients. They all come out of plants. The thing you need to know about micronutrients is simple. They are what helps all of the operations in our body work and helps to send the messages that run around in your body as well, if that makes sense. Keeps everything healthy that way. Okay. And helps us with repair and our immune system. They're just phenomenal. And so that's why it's really important to eat a variety of foods, because if you continue to eat the same thing over and over and over again, you're only getting those nutrients from those foods.
Yeah.
Right. Good point. So trying to get a little more variety. And then the other part around that micronutrients, which is the challenge for many of us, and especially some of the places that drivers have had to pull up to eat at, is getting color on your plate. Getting more color on your plate. Mother Nature has it sort of planned out. There's this rainbow of colorful foods, whether it be blueberries or red onion or green grapes or what have you. There's a whole bunch of
oranges.
There's a whole bunch of different colors out there, but we're not really attuned to that. We're not really attuned to that. So finding a way to get that color in, which is something like we will talk about more and more, but that's important. So the mini lesson that we're talking about is, first of all, it's important to have these macronutrients for energy and these micronutrients for helping all those processes in the body work, right? And so trying to maximize the amount of that, that you get, all the good stuff from what you eat, the choices you make throughout the day.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's the tough part, right? It's trying to figure out, how do I do that given the choices I have? And so there's drivers that are living out of their trucks and they might have a little bit of equipment that they can work with.
That's right.
And then there's others that don't live out of their trucks, but could still have a little bit of equipment to work with. There's still ways to bring like plug in a blender or something like that, like a smoothie little thing.
Maybe.
Some trucks do that. And then there's always that, the option to pick up food, grab it from wherever you're at. And so that's where it gets tricky, right? Because the choices that are out there are usually higher in fat, higher in sodium, salt, and higher in sugar. And there's not a lot of color.
Right.
There's not a lot of color. Yeah.
True.
So one of the so when you are at home, so when you have the opportunity to be at home, that is where you have the opportunity to really work on getting in these more colorful foods, the healthier foods, the plant foods, right? And then when you're on the road, it's looking at, what are my choices available and what is the best choice that I can make from what is given to me.
Right. Yeah. And that can be all over the place, depending on the truck stop you go to. If you do have cooking appliances on your truck, if you can make it into a grocery store, and I mean, there's a lot of our drivers do that, cook on the truck. They find a grocery store or a Walmart or something, or they use the Walmart app and get the food delivered right to their truck, which is pretty cool. Eric does that. I think Eric is on with us. Yeah, but if you're living in the truck and you're not cooking on your truck and you're just depending on the truck stops for food, yikes. That can get really, really challenging. So, and I think that's where we're headed with the series, is to try to educate drivers on, how can we eat better, and how can drivers, if you're living in the truck, how can you get in position where you can have some things on your truck, where you can cook in your truck, and you're not going to run the battery down, and you're not going to kill your inverter on the truck. That's a whole different show, you guys. We'll get into that probably in the next 2 weeks. So I wonder, Angela, where, in terms of educating our drivers, and guys, we are going to take questions soon, but what should we talk about next? What do you think with this group of people?
I think I have a question, because it would help guide the conversation, and that is, and this is just coming out of familiarity when I'm pulling a 33-foot Airstream through too. Yeah, I can cook on mine, but I don't always. But then you always have to. I'm always thinking about, well, I have to know how I'm getting out of here before I get in here, and you guys have to do the same before you're going into a parking lot. And thankfully, across the country, we have super Walmarts, and we have groceries. There's many grocery store parking lots that you can look at from Google Maps, and you can look down on them and get the navigation. And so I'm curious from the team, if any of you think about driving through, any of those times, because a lot of them are open at later hours when the parking lot is less full.
Yeah.
That you could get some foods that aren't even, you don't even need to cook. Like, you can get food, get ingredients and things that you could, for those that can cook on their rig, yes. But for those that can't, you can get into these places and pick up fresh fruit or fresh veg or something like that, that you can be noshing on or eating on alongside of, to augment, to kind of eat alongside of the protein that you can grab at the truck stop. Yeah. Or that that you can get through delivery, or what have you, that kind of thing. So you can kind of augment that, so you've got it together. Has anyone had that experience? Has anyone done that?
Ken, feel free to jump in, and Daryl, you can unmute and jump in on that if you want to also.
Yeah, I've definitely gone to several stores in the middle of the night to get food at the Walmarts. And then a lot of times you can park back by their loading dock and just kind of, if you're going to be 15 minutes, to say, hey, I'm parked back there so you don't get towed. And they're happy to have you as a customer. So with the Airstream, if you go towards the back, towards the docks, a lot of times there's a lot more room back there to park.
Go left. No, let's go right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did anyone else have a comment they want
Daryl,
to share?
did you want to jump in? I see you're unmuted.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to mute myself while I was doing the test. I didn't mean to butt into the conversation.
That's okay.
Yeah. So what I have found, and I'm fortunate, Miss Angela, I'm on what we call a dedicated account, so I get to go home every week. And since jumping on the road team and getting to work with a lot of these drivers, when I'm out for the week, I have started looking for different places. So the Walmart always seems to welcome us, and there's a lot of times that there are grocery stores that will welcome us as long as we're not, running over their equipment or anything like that. You can roll in behind them,
right,
and get the. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Oh, I thought somebody was saying something. So that has helped out a lot. But my biggest thing really is I try to stop and get at least 2 to 3 days or my whole week planned out. Again, I'm kind of different because I get to go home every week, so I meal plan and do all the other different things.
Yeah, I don't think that's much different though, Daryl, I'm sorry, is that because whether or not you get to go home or not, planning is part of success. Having a plan, right? So you've got a plan for when you're on the road and when you're at home. And I think sometimes, and this is drivers and a lot of the clients I see too, they just kind of wing it. And if you don't have a plan to start with for your week, then of course you're like tired, pulling into the truck stop, and you're just walking in there and you smell food and you're like, that's what I'm having, right? So if you had a plan ahead of time and you already had figured out how you were going to get some of these items from a Walmart or grocery store that are a really large parking lot or or delivered to the truck early on your run for the week, then you could combine, like I said, you've got your fresh produce and some fruits and veggies, nuts, things like that you can snack on, and then you can just get the other protein and other things that you need when you're at the truck stop to kind of put it together.
Totally.
Yes, ma'am. Can I ask you a question, Angela?
Sure.
So I think a lot of the problems I have as a driver is, and maybe you can help me walk through it, is you get told that you're going to pick up a load at 8 o'clock, and then next thing you know, it gets canceled. So now you got to get sleep because you got to drive all night and pick up the load at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So the difference in your time of eating, you can't really plan for. But is there like something you can plan for? Like, I'm not going to eat this before I go to bed, or if I have that kind of a disruptive schedule, what's the best plan for that? Not to throw a curveball at you, but
no, that's good. It's good. Is that, and you're saying this is a common thing that happens with people. I mean, I know I hear my brother say my load got canceled or this got canceled. And then he'll have to go early or late. This is if I was in the truck and this is what was happening to me, what I would want to do is make sure that I already had a plan for my food for the week, so I had some on site. And there are foods that you can, like the type of food you have, if it is some of this, the produce that I was talking about, you got a small cooler, you've got a small fridge, some of you, those are foods. It doesn't matter about the time of day, I guess.
Okay.
You still have it available to you, and you can eat it accordingly. When I travel, I also have backup plans. I always have plan A and I always have plan B, because you can get stuck in an airport. You can get stuck. We had to drive up the other day coming back from Thanksgiving because our plane we missed the connections and stuff. So like you kind of have, it's that plan and planning ahead. And so, so I would say to that, it's the same plan. You still need to have a plan. You still plan for the week. If you had some of this produce on, and if you are someone who goes to similar areas all the time, like some of you are going to new places all the time, but some of you have similar runs, you know where the spots are that you're going to gravitate toward to pull over and eat and do, so you can navigate or work with us as we keep doing this program on what are the better options at that truck stop. What are the better options to do, to eat?
I guess more of the question is, like before I go to bed, should I eat the same thing? Like if I got canceled, I'm going to have to go back to bed early, and I had planned like a light something in the morning or whatever, or a heavy, or a good healthy meal to get me through the day. But now my day's disrupted. Is there anything you shouldn't eat before you go to bed? Like, is the meals different breakdown wise of your system for like a heavy meal, soft meal? That's the question.
And I think to your point, Ken, that's a really good question. Is that before you're going to go to sleep, we want to have a good sleep, and we don't want our body focused on digestion. We want it focused on resting and repairing and sleeping, right? So you're refreshed the next day. I think that's what you were getting at. And so,
Yes.
yeah. And so to be able to have, you know, in an ideal world, you wouldn't be eating a couple hours before bed. That's the ideal. So your system has finished its digesting so it can work on rest and repair and all the other things it needs to do while it's sleeping, resetting the system, that kind of thing. Detoxification. There's a whole bunch of things that it happens. So if you are able to have a lighter meal rather than a heavier one, I think that's what you were getting at. Yes, I would switch it up if that was the case. And that said, that's something to think about too, because I think sometimes we get concerned when we're, you know, at least the drivers that I work with as well, even, you know, the bus drivers, their shifts are either 8 or they're a split shift where they're doing a few hours, then they're back at the bus depot, and then they're out again on a split. But is that they don't eat at all. I don't know how many of you guys do this, but they just don't eat at all, and they wait until they're at, you know, end of the day, and then they just eat a big meal and then conk out, right? Go to sleep. That is like killer for your energy that we're talking about, this energy production. If you can find ways to have smaller, really nutrient dense, snacky, you know, meals throughout the day, that's going to help your energy and your focus and your clarity, because you're driving a big moving piece of metal. You know? So being able to have that focus and that clarity, and that comes back to then what do you put in that fuel throughout the day, right? What do you do? And that's where you kind of have to have that plan, but it's that comes back to those macros, right? So that we look at mixing foods that are, or mixing meals that are small but mighty, and they don't make you so tired from digestion that you get sleepy, and then they don't also spike your blood sugar because they were just a bunch of crackers or chips or something very high in carbohydrates, and then your energy goes up and you're great for an hour, and then you're sleepy again.
Totally. Yeah, like Steve said on Tuesday, just eat like you're putting another log on the fire. You're not building the fire, just put a log on.
Yes.
Well, that's great information for me, because I've always ate it. I've always been told for some reason, breakfast is the most important meal, and you got to load up there. Being Italian, we had a lot of family dinners at night right before you go to bed. So that's really good information for me, because I think I will start dialing that back to, you think about 3 hours before you go to bed, 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, if you can do 3 hours before bed, great, depending on your schedule. But if you can, and then the same, we haven't even talked about hydration. That's a whole nother subject, right? So that's a whole nother subject about hydration. But if you have ever looked at a plant without water, it looks a little droopy, and so people are not different. And so it's a challenge when you're on that truck to hydrate well. And I know many of you guys have systems in place, shall we say, for helping yourself alleviate when you don't have a bathroom.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge, but it cannot be not addressed, because it's so important for that focus and clarity. And water carries all the water soluble vitamins and minerals to your system, all those micronutrients, right? So and then on top of it, a lot of drivers are caffeinating and energy drinks and trying to keep sharp and focused and all that kind of thing, right?
Energy drinks are the worst.
The energy drinks are just so hard on the system, and also because it gives you, instead of this, you want even keel energy. You want to be like this throughout the day, not this, oh my gosh, up and down and up and down.
Yep.
And so that's the whole thing I was talking about, of when you can put a small meal together that has proteins, carbs, and fiber, proteins, carbs, and fats together. The carbs have fiber in them. That means it comes from plants, right? And you put that together. That with proper hydration is the winning combination. To keep that going forward.
Totally.
Hi, Angela. This is Bridget from the road team.
Hi,
Hey,
Bridget.
Bridget.
Hi, boss. So with that question, I'm a day cab driver and I go home every night. So my question is, I work 14 hours a day, and I want to know how much food do I pack to last me throughout the day, because that's my issue that I'm having. Like, I'm trying not to eat so much dinner, because I go to bed like in less than 2 hours. When I get home, I go to bed already because I need to get up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my issue is trying to know how much food that I need to pack to last me for that 14 hours. And also, being a type 2 diabetic, I need to stay away from certain things, So I would love your help on that, please.
Yeah, Bridget. So I
Great question.
think, like you said, you have to maximize your time while you're at home. And so if you can get all of your eating done before you get home, then you can go right to bed. You can get done what you need to done and go to bed. And so how do you pack that? And, there's some other parameters for me to, I can dive in one-on-one if you want to have a conversation on how to get the right amount of calories for you, but you can also do that online. There's little apps that will, you can go to, I think it's called bmrcalc.net, and it will give you the amount of calories that you need based on your height and weight and that you're female. So you can get the amount of calories there. And then there's a way to look at, some people ask me with these macros, what's like the magic formula for those, and there is no magic formula, but there is a common formula that works. And it's about for many people to at least get started with. And it's about 40% complex carbs. So all of those plants, fruits, veggies, beans, legumes, things like that. So 40% of those. 30% lean protein, which is your chicken, fish, beef, pork, eggs that are lean. And then, and you can put Greek yogurt in there as well. That'd be a good one. And then healthy fats, 30% healthy fats too. So that's nuts, seeds, avocados. If you're doing a clean salad dressing, like, an olive oil or a vinaigrette or something like that. So it's a 40-30-30 is what I'm getting at. So now you ask, how are you going to get that in throughout the day? You've probably already figured this out, that you need a cooler on your truck, even though you go home every night. So you pack food to bring with you. And so being able to sort of plan out, and you're a type 2 diabetic. So you've also figured out you do need small, frequent meals that pair the fiber with the protein and the carbohydrate, protein and fat. You want that together as well. So like veggies and hummus, or chicken and avocado on a whole grain bread, that kind of thing, pairing them together so that your blood sugar doesn't dive.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some recipes on my website too that you can look at. I listed a few of them here. And
I'll
if
be sure
anybody wants
to get that out to everybody.
Yeah, we can get a more proper ebook if you want. I'll throw them all in an ebook, and you can send them to people.
Oh, wow.
But I have no bake protein balls 4 ways out there, no bake energy bars, my mix and match trail mix. You can do these at home, or for people that have an air fryer on their rig, they can do crunchy roasted chickpeas. There's ways to do that, spicy and all that kind of thing. And then some people even have like what do you call those things? The NutriBullet, those little guys, little ninjas and stuff like that. You can make smoothies, you can make soups on those things. It's really easy. So so I'm happy to share all of those. But back to your question is about how do you get all those calories in? Knowing how much you need first is important. And then being able to utilize things you do on the weekend or your days off, so that you've got them. Like I make those energy balls and I throw them in the freezer, and then I can pull out as many I need for the day. Some of you might be pulling them out for as many as you need for the week or what have you, and you can keep them with you. Cool. So did that answer your question, Bridget?
Yeah, like I'm really looking forward to those recipes for the snacks, like the energy balls, because I like to Like, I like to make a lot of my food at home instead of versus buying it. So if I can make it, I want to make it. So I'll appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. And these are all things you can do at home, or you can do on your rig, either way, in the truck.
Cool. Good question, Bridget. Since we're getting into questions here, Angela, I think we should probably just keep going with questions.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Let me get to Charles. Charles, area code 458. I'm going to click on you, and then you're going to hit *6. It might take a few seconds here.
Hey, Mr. Darren, while we're waiting, can I ask Miss Angela a question?
Yeah.
So, Miss Angela, I am so, like, the nerd of me is geeking out because, you know, I used to be a personal trainer and a professional power lifter. So my knowledge was put into movements, and then, of course, I would just go hire a nutritionist. But you just said a term that you and I probably understand, and you'll know more than me, but then everybody else probably just kind of didn't understand it. And you said complex carbohydrates. So three things, if you could touch on real quick, is explain the difference that there are, you know, carbohydrates, there's a complex, there's a simple, you know, and then everything else fits in between there.
Yes, absolutely. Protein. Thanks for calling me on that. That's good.
Yeah, and no, and I'm glad you said it, because that's one thing I was going to stand on, because a lot of people don't understand what the macros are, but then that there are different kinds of macros, you know, a bunch of legumes, you know, you have a bunch of protein, but then you're going to have a bunch of carbs, but then steak, you're going to have protein, a lot of fats. And then also, too, on the call the other day, and when we talk to a lot of drivers, what I hear is the fear of failing. And it just breaks my heart when people eat one bad meal or have one bad day or a weekend, and they think everything's ruined. They throw their hands up, and then they go back to the regular lifestyle, when really you're just one meal getting right back on track. So you didn't fail.
Exactly.
Failure's just quitting. So if you could hit on that. And then also, too, when it comes to changing your nutrition and exercise, that's for a lot of people is very hard, because food is really a drug. So could you also just hit on community? Like, get 100%. One person, or like what we have here, it's going to help you tremendously. If you would, please.
Yes, absolutely. 3 great points. Let me first grab a prop.
Okay, props. Obviously, those of you that are on the phone can't see us, but we are recording this.
Yeah.
So you can watch the video later.
And I'm going to talk you through it, because sometimes I don't have a prop. So I'm in my office in California on the Central Coast, just north of San Luis Obispo. And so I love plants, because I love growing food. I love growing things. And so what we were talking about, complex carbs. And so versus carbs. All right. So carbs is one of these macros, right? And carbs get a bad rap. I mean, they get a bad rap all the time. The thing is, we run on carbs. We run off glucose, you know, but what is important is that we focus the majority of the carbohydrates that we're taking in for energy, so they don't spike our blood sugar and a whole bunch of other reasons, is to focus on complex carbs. What are they? They are in their most natural form. So complex carbs come from the most natural form, closest to the earth, and they have fiber in them. Right? So like a plant here, this is one of my plants that I have, but we eat different parts of the plant, right? So we eat the root of a plant, like we have potatoes and carrots and turnips and rutabagas and sweet potatoes, beets. All of those guys. Beets, thank you. So we've got all those guys, right? We've got the stem of a plant. So we've got asparagus and celery and chard, rhubarb, for those who know what that is. And then we've got the leaves. So we got everything from collards to kale to romaine. And I recommend, if at all possible, try to eat anything romaine or darker if you can when you're making choices. Because iceberg is pretty much, you're paying for water and cellulose. Yeah. That's about it. You're not getting much out of that. And then there's the fruit, which I don't have on this plant, obviously, but you got cauliflower and broccoli and beans and zucchini, everything that carries the seeds, right? So when we're talking about these, or if this was a peach tree, it'd be peaches, you know? So what we're talking about when we're talking about complex carbs are these are the kinds we want, rather than the carbs that come out of a box or a bag. When they come out of a box or a bag, which you are exposed a lot to because of the choices that are put in front of you, you can't, you know, you have to go to find these, the complex carbs. We want to eat less of those because they're not going to give you those, the fiber that we were just talking about. And they don't give you as much of the control over the energy that you have. You get a lot more energy ups and downs with your blood sugar going up and down, also with the like crackers and pastries and donuts and cake.
It's good. I have a guest on that's talking about nutrition.
Those will be the ones that are going to wreak havoc on your energy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Try not to eat anything that has a barcode on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Try.
Right.
Or
if you can.
At least, and this points to the part that was also asked about, like the failure part. Like we feel failure if we eat at least 21 times a week. If you have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's 21. If there's 3 meals and 2 snacks, that's way more than that. And so if you make a poor choice, one meal, I mean, you've been going at it great all week. You're dedicated now and really working on your health, and you've been trying your best. And then either A, you just blow it, or B, your choices are not there and you have to make the best choice you can. And it's not the greatest, but it's it's available to you. Awesome. Be in command of that, own it. And then the next day you just start right back up again.
Yeah.
It is challenging to start new habits. It is challenging given the environment you're in. So the last thing you need is to beat up on yourself also, right? It just makes it that much harder. So give yourself a break, take a deep breath, and try again. I have a video that I show a lot to some of my clients, and it's about when you're trying to make change. You're now committed to trying to make healthy habits. You want to feel better, look better, be on the planet longer. And so it's not a straight line. It doesn't work that way. We want it to, but in the course of that, it will dip and dive and come back and forth. And your job is just to recognize it. And this is where mindfulness comes in, but just recognize it and go, all right, that wasn't the best choice right now. So what would I do? And then take a pause and kind of, what could I do better next time? How would I handle this better next time? When I walk into the truck stop tomorrow night, what could I do differently?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. I think the others, before we get to, Charles, I see you're unmuted now. We're going to get to you in 1 second. The other thing Daryl mentioned was about having an accountability buddy.
Absolutely.
Community.
And so, community. I think the fact that, you have a road team, the fact that you have these lives are awesome for accountability, are awesome for bringing people together. Anybody that I work with one-on-one, I happen to help them being an accountability partner, but I also have them identify one other person that they also have as an accountability buddy as well.
Good.
And so it's super important because you don't even have to be working on the same thing. One person could be working on really cutting the fat out of their diet. Like they're really trying to lean down and get away from cheeseburgers and move to chicken sandwiches or something like that. They're really trying to work on that. And the other person could be really working on hydration, like we were talking about. And it's the idea of having a regular time, either for some people, it could be even daily in the beginning, and then it could work to weekly, but you have this accountability buddy that you're checking in with, whether it's on phone or on text or what, however it is that you want to do. You guys have these awesome headsets, so you can do that. You don't need to be doing this while you're driving. So you have that going. And I want to share with you, people like me who are a dietitian and a health coach, I have accountability partners. I am not unsusceptible to lack of motivation or screwing up. Just like Steve said, well, we're human as well. So having those having accountability buddies, that helps, whether it's getting to the gym or working out or talking about your, are you taking your insulin? There's a whole bunch of reasons that we can do that. So absolutely.
Great point. Key. Yeah, absolutely. Charles, are you there? I think we've got you unmuted now.
I think I'm unmuted too. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you. What's your question?
Oh man, so many things because you kept talking. But I actually have lost 50 pounds 3 times now doing keto. And so I just recently, I wasn't a team. That was very challenging to do keto while in a team. But I also try to keep OMAD. But so anyway, now that I'm not teaming anymore, I'm getting back on the program. What you were talking about Walmarts, a lot of Walmarts do have truck parking. There's an app called Trucker Pass that's usually pretty good about that. And there's a free version of that, or there's a paid version of that. You can do either. Also, there's a couple Smiths around that have parking, and you guys were talking about the late night parking, and the Wincos are open 24 hours.
Yeah.
So if you're someone that for whatever reason you need to shop between 11 and 6 a.m. when Walmart is closed, you can hit a Winco, and those are employees on very good outfit. Actually, the question I was wondering about is, have you heard of the Lactobacillus rotary? I've been hearing a lot about that recently.
Lactobacillus is a strain of bacterium that is in the colon, but it's also from dairy. But what was the last part you said?
Rotary, R-O-T-E-R-I.
Yeah, so Lactobacillus rotary is one strain of Lactobacillus. Yeah, what did you want to know about it?
Well, I just been hearing some really good stuff about it. Apparently, it's really easy to kill off with antibiotics, and it tends to colonize higher in your digestive system than further down, and so it can help with. I just wondered if you'd heard about it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different strains of
there's thousands.
Yeah, there's thousands and thousands of strains. Another one that's prominent right now in the literature is Akkermansia. But there's a lot of there's a lot out there. The biggest thing you can do for your gut microbiome is to feed it plants, because that's what all those bacteria eat. So that's so being able to do that. And then if you have access to, so that you can take some of these strains in pill form. Obviously you can do that from a supplementation perspective, but if you want them to feed and proliferate, feed them what they want. And that's these plants. Again, that's all the fiber, and they love asparagus and they love artichokes, FYI, but they love all plants.
Ooh, so, I mean, who doesn't love asparagus and artichokes? I
a lot of people don't. But
I love artichokes.
You can culture it yourself from the live cultures with either half and half or cream, and then cook it to 100 degrees for a while.
It's kind of like making your own yogurt.
But that was making your own yogurt. That's what I was thinking of doing, because anyway, so I was just wondering if you'd heard about that. I was also thinking, now that I'm solo, maybe I'd get like a rowing machine on my truck. That might be something that I could exercise with on the bunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey.
And
wow. Let us know if you're able to do that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. I just need, I just need to get back in shape, because seriously, when you're a team driver, they're like, you need to get more exercise. I'm like, what am I going to do? Get out and run beside the truck while the other dude's driving?
Yeah.
I mean,
Charles,
for like 20 hours a week. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this, but as part of this driver health and wellness thing and helping drivers get fit, we have ordered trucks that are like they're kind of like the cars that they had on the Flintstones. Remember those, where they had to power them with their own feet? Volvo is making some.
Hey, don't tease me, Mr. Darren.
They got them ordered.
You just want to save the fuel mileage.
Yeah. Well, human fuel.
I'd actually played with getting a little pedaler to pedal around in the back while the other dude was driving me around, but it didn't work out well.
They work.
Freight line.
I have one. I have one, and I've had several clients who use those as well. The pedalers do work. Mm-hmm.
That's a
Whether
great idea.
you're the one on the other side of the, across from the driver, or you're at home on your day off on the sofa. You can do that too. Either way.
I like it. Well, a lot of. Go ahead, Charles.
Miss Angela. Miss Angela, one thing. Could you speak on briefly? So we're talking about exercise, like the power of a brisk 30-minute walk and the difference. That is an actual exercise. So one thing that I always try to, when drivers are asking me what to do and they're just starting their health journey, so they're not really ready or have a lot of time for anything else. So one thing I like to share is, and I'm sure you've heard this before, by Tim Ferriss, the 30-30-30 protocol, which is 30 minutes of 30 grams of protein, 30 minutes of waking up, but a 30 minutes low intensity cardio, which is like get out in the parking lot and do a brisk walk. And I think people have forgotten that a walk at a faster pace is a lost art, and it is a great form of not just an exercise, but also kind of like an active rest recovery type exercise as well. Could you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point, because a lot of people think that they have to find an hour in their day to work out, or they have to find an hour to do things. And you can do, like you said, a 30-minute brisk walk, or if you can't do that, because this is what my bus drivers, they're have different breaks. You can do 10 minutes 3 times. You can, if you only have 10 minutes, get out and walk 10 minutes. But if you can figure out to regularly in your day routine, figure 30 minutes, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but either way, it does give the benefit of, it's not just a calorie burn, yes, great. It does the calorie burn. That's awesome. But even more importantly, it helps with your metabolism. It helps with blood flow, with energy, with getting oxygen to your brain. And as drivers, you are looking for that energy, that oxygen to your brain, and just getting that overall moving. And we haven't even talked about mood as well, because you're in the truck by yourself all day too. So being able to find time to get out, even if it's a 15-minute walk, because at some point you're getting out of the truck during the day, or you're waiting for a load, or you're waiting for something else. And I have heard that, you can walk around a parking lot, or you can walk around your truck. People do laps around their truck. I mean, like, you can do this. It's whether you are, and this is the next point I wanted to actually bring up is that it depends on, and kind of Steve alluded to this too, you got to have what I call your big why.
Yeah.
Why are you even trying to get healthy in the first place?
Yeah.
And it's got to speak to you. And I work with all my clients on this too. You got to have, why am I doing this? Is it just because, my doctor said so, or I'm not going to make well, it is important if you're not going to make your exams, right? And you're going to not have a license
lose
to drive.
your CDL.
That's super important.
Your medical card.
And that's super important. But sometimes you got to take a minute and dive deeper and literally write this down. Why do I want to do this? Because when you walk into that truck stop the next time, and you got choice A and choice B, and you take a pause, and this is where the mindfulness is, and you take pause and you go, there's my big why. You're going to make the choice that's right for you more often, because you've got your eye on the prize, why you're doing this. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting you said that, Angela. That lines up with something we did a couple of years ago, but I hope drivers have held on to this. And this was regarding safety. And so we asked our drivers, what's your why? Why are you committed to staying safe in that truck? And of course, many times, most of the time, the answer was, I want to get back home to my family, my kids, my friends. Yeah. And it's kind of the same thing with health and wellness, right? Because if you've got kids, maybe you want to be around to see your grandkids.
Yeah.
Maybe
you want to be able to not only see your grandkids, but you want to be able to play with them. You want to be able to throw the ball with them. You want to be able to ride a bike with them. It's not just sitting on the bleachers and watching. It's like I'm doing it with them. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I was going to ask, if you would speak to too. I wish Big Slice was on here, because remember Mr. Darren, I think it was quite a few months ago, the first thing he said when he started eating better and losing weight was, I just feel better. So now we're going to affect our physical, our mental, everything, all of our health all the way around. And that is so huge.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you didn't use these exact words, Angela, but I think what you said a few minutes ago is food is mood.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Our mood is affected by what we eat, and not only from when you start fueling yourself. I like to say that I fuel myself with premium fuel. I'm worthy of premium fuel, so I use premium fuel so that I can have a more premium day. Let's put it that way. So that's, kind of how I think about it. Do I eat a burger once in a while? Absolutely. Do I have a glass of wine once in a while? Absolutely, I do. And that's not for everybody, but do I eat dark chocolate every day? Yes, I do. But there are these, when you start fueling yourself with premium fuel, and take this experiment, try it for a day. If you get through that, try it for a week. And then see how differently you feel and operate. It's amazing, because then your body will get to a point where it doesn't want the other things. Now, you might have a hard time with that currently, but your body and your palate especially, given the choices that drivers have, are very tuned to salt and sugar and fat, because that's what's prominent in all of them. So your taste buds are really tuned to that. So you're seeking it out and you're looking for it. But when you start backing off from that and you put in more of these colorful, nutrient dense foods, all of a sudden you taste bitter, and you taste savory, and you taste, your palate just opens up, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. I get all of that. And then you want more of it.
Awesome. We're over time now, but you have 5 more minutes.
I have 5 more minutes. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. Slice, are you there? I see you on the screen. I want to make sure you got in. All right. This is Big Slice.
Slice is the one I told you about, the vegetarian, non-vegetarian.
We were just talking about you, big dog.
Hi.
Yeah. This is a man who loves beets.
He loves beets.
Oh, man.
Loves him some beets.
Okay. It took a little minute to get that taste for it, and now it's just nothing. And I just got lazy, because I was skinning them and chopping them up. Now I found in Sprouts, they just already got it pressed with some turmeric in it and all that stuff. So that's what I'm drinking. I drink that every day. But my problem right now is like he was saying, I had one bad week since I got back from Pennsylvania, because I was swimming, eating beets, eating right. But now I got back out here, and my choices have been bad, and I almost fell off the wagon, because my problem was cheesecake. And so I'm running from all cheesecake.
Run. I like that.
Yeah, it's challenging. Well, cheesesteak is absolutely challenging, and the time of year we're going into is challenging too, right? Because you've got not only holiday celebrations, but you've got everybody bringing food as gifts of love. They're giving us these rich foods too, and so being able to learn to enjoy them on the day and celebrate with them on the day of that event. And then leave them for other people, give them to other people that need them or want them, and not say, yeah, I'll take all of that and then pack it in your lunch all week. That's not necessarily setting you up for success, so to speak. So, when you're talking to me about the cheesecake. So the cheesecake has gone away. You're back in your truck.
I'm 2 years sober off of cheesecake.
Oh, you're 2 years sober. Okay, there you go. This was not yesterday.
But I seen one yesterday, and I was going into convulsions.
Oh well. Just turn and walk away. Turn and walk away.
But one of the things I was teeter-tottering in eating meat again. Like I eat eggs. Like I tell them, I'm not vegan. I'm not vegetarian. I just don't eat meat. But I will eat meat if I eat meat. I just haven't ate meat in a long time. And like while I was in Pennsylvania, I tried some salmon, but it was from Red Lobster, and I didn't like it. So it kind of like turned me way off. And so,
so how do you get your protein in? How are you getting your protein in other than eggs?
Beans and just eggs, really. Just eggs and just beans and different vegetables and stuff.
Okay.
I got a phone call. But I want to know, what I want to know is the vegetables is going to give me the most protein.
The vegetables that are going to give you the most protein are beans and legumes. Zucchini doesn't have much protein. I mean, like the green stuff doesn't have a lot of protein. Your beans and legumes from a plant kingdom are going to give you the most protein. And then if you've got eggs going for you, fantastic. Do you ever peas also have protein in them as well? Like they're a legume, but green peas, even green peas do. Because you can get those. Lentils too, absolutely. Yeah, and all the beans, whether they kidney, chickpeas, black-eyed peas, lentils, dal, any of those.
We're actually having a chili challenge right now, and that's what I'm doing. I don't just put I put all the beans in my chili. I like my chili to be hearty, so I put all the beans in my chili. So a lot of us are doing a chili challenge right now.
Yeah,
is that down in Colton?
Works.
No. This is between me and my homeboys. They be cooking. They use that brick chili, and I had them read the ingredients in the brick chili, and it messed a lot of people up. Yeah. Oh man, they mad at me because I made them read them ingredients. But like I tell them, you don't need to. Like with me, once I start eating like that, I taste my food now. I know I know what carrots taste like. I know what everything tastes like because I don't put a lot of seasoning on it other than the food. I let the food complement the food.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Do you ever do you just eat whole foods, or do you support or supplement your protein with things like a protein powder or a shake or anything like that, plant-based?
None of that. I don't eat healthy. I just be eating. I ain't never had a regimen. You know what I mean? Until now, the only thing that I've really dialed in on was the beets. Because I started using, because my problem was snacking while I was driving. So what I did is I took watermelon, beets, and sweet potatoes, and I would just cut them up raw, and I would just eat those as I drove.
That's a beautiful combination of colors. We were just talking about the rainbow, and getting that in, and that's something to nosh on. It's got fiber. Those are great. Alongside that, with the challenges that I see with people that eat plant-based, though, is they are challenged with getting in enough protein. You are having.
You speaking my language.
That's helpful. And so consider if you're willing to consider and trying fish again, maybe try that. If that's not an option for you, I'd highly recommend finding a way to maybe, because it's convenient, there are plant-based drinks that can give you 32 grams of clean protein. And there are bars that are convenient too that you can take with you that'll give you at least, I have one in mind, 14 grams of protein. So it's all plant-based and all clean. So those are some options too. It's just tough because I can't see you, but I suspect you're a tall guy too. So
I'm really 5'2". I just wear big shoes.
He's 5'2". Yeah. So that's what I mean. The protein requirements are there. Yeah, they're needed. So.
So yeah, I will eat meat. I just don't have clean recipes for meat. You know what I mean? The only reason if I was to eat meat, it would probably be salmon, tuna, and lamb. That's as far as I would want to go.
And that's okay. That's fine. The cleanest way to do it, recipe-wise, if we're talking on the at home, you mean? For you, you mean at
No,
home,
on
or
the
you
rig.
mean
On
you
the
want to
rig.
do you want to do lamb on the rig? Okay, I'm not a professional lamb cooker on a rig, just to let you know.
We'll figure it out, Slice.
But what I can tell you is I know a lot about a crock pot, and those you can do on a rig. So lamb tagine, because you like all those veggies, throwing that all together, that would be amazing. You could do that easy. Yeah, I know, right? That would be so.
It's lunchtime,
that would be so
Angela.
yummy. I know. And salmon, you could do the same in there. You can actually steam it. There's a steaming component to a crock pot that you could steam the fish. It'd be great. And tuna, you can eat as a fillet, or you can eat, there are clean versions of canned tuna that you could have once in a while. I don't recommend eating it too often because it's a big fish in the sea that gets the accumulated toxins that we have in our water, which is a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But that, that is a quick tuna salad with, that's something you can just mix up. That's easy.
We'll get there, Slice.
Yeah,
we're gonna get it figured out. We're gonna get there.
That's what I'm saying.
Totally.
I got the new truck, so the next thing I got to get is the inverter now.
Yep.
Because I got
that inverter.
Yeah.
I got to get the inverter, and then I have a Instapot. The Instapot does everything. Air fry, it does everything.
Lamb. That'll do your lamb. Those things are amazing. It'll steam your salmon too.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I think the next show
what
we
is
do.
Your website?
My website is vitalandwell.com.
vitalandwell.com, and I'll get that out to everybody.
And if anybody has a question, you're more than welcome to email me, Angela@vitalandwell.com.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
All right. Sure. Hey, we got to wrap this one up, you guys. We're way over time, but Angela, as we get into this, get these guys set up where they can cook on the truck or they're cooking at home, and we're figuring out what to cook and all of that stuff. We may need to have you back maybe in a couple of months.
Happily, we'll do that. Yeah.
We would love that. Thank you.
Yeah. And happy to start, putting together more of cooking on, working with cooking on the truck. And then also there's a lot of things you can do with mixing and stirring and pressing that you don't have to have electricity for. So,
yeah. Good point.
What I've been doing lately, I've been substituting everything with mushrooms. A lot of mushrooms just it's quick. I don't have to cook it. I could just chop it up, and I could use that like when I make tacos. I just chop up the mushrooms, put the vegetables, the salsa, and all that stuff, and I could go, and I don't have to heat it up.
Yeah, that's another subject that we'll talk about further. I'm a big fan of mushrooms. In fact, I opened this is a whole another conversation for another day, but I do have another side project where I'm working on. It's dark chocolate that's infused with superfoods, and I have one on the market already here in SLO County, which is pepitas, which are pumpkin seeds, walnuts, goji berries, and chaga mushroom in it. And then I have another one coming out with 5 mushrooms, cinnamon, and blueberries, so you can eat it and it's good for you rather than feeling guilty about it. But that said, awesome. I wanted to share that I like the idea that you're bringing mushrooms into your life. The nutrients are absorbed better, however, when they're cooked. So we don't digest. You can eat them when they're raw, but they're much more bioavailable. It's a big word for they absorb better when they're cooked. So we'll find other ways to help you get those in eating more of those as well.
Okay.
We'll have to get that in the company store there, Daryl.
Yeah, good point. We'll have to. We have a company store in Salt Lake City. We'll have to see if we can get that hooked up with Angela.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. We've got to let Angela go do other things, but we really appreciate you. And guys, we're just getting started here. Keep a list of all your questions, because hopefully we'll get Angela back in the near future. And again, I think the next one we're going to do in this series is we're going to probably get Dan Flanagan. He's our VP of maintenance, Angela, and get him on with us. Let's talk about what appliances you can have on your truck.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can have on your truck. Some you can't. So we'll talk about that next time. And Angela, thank you so much again. Really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I look forward to the next
Absolutely.
time.
Angela.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See you next time. Thanks.
Take care.